Okay, so today I'm going to introduce to you a form in Turkish music, specifically the Saz Semaisi. So this is all the information you need to know about it. Saz Semaisi literally translates to instrumental semai. And semai is actually a name for the meter of 10/8. So it means instrumental piece in 10/8 meter. The structure of it is very similar to the rondo, which we studied a couple weeks ago. So you have an A section, a B section, A, C, A, D, A. So we always go back to that A section. And the sections they have different terms. So the episodes are called hanes. And the first hane typically establishes the main makam, or mode. We'll talk about that in a second. And then the later hanes modulate away from it. So you can see it's a very similar concept to the Western rondo, establishing a tonic and modulating the different keys. The teslim is the term for the refrain. So the teslim is always going to return to the original makam, no matter where you've gone to. And as I mentioned before, the meter is 10/8. So meter in Turkish the term is called usul, which translates roughly to cycle. So it's a cycle of 10 beats. And the beat structure is asymmetrical. So it's 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3. This is how makam works. There is a whole gamut of pitches. Let me actually do this. So you can see that on the slide, there's a key signature. But this is actually considered the sort of C major collection for Turkish music. And it's very strange why we put it. I don't know the answer to why we put the C major sort of equivalent of the pitch collection for Turkish music on a staff with a backwards B flat and then an F sharp. But those are sort of the main pitches. And I'll show you a little bit of what I mean by main pitches. So the first note is going to be yega. Then you have ashiran, which is E, notated as E. Irak, and that's a little bit flatter than a normal F sharp. Rast. Duga. Sega, again a little flatter. Charga. Neva. Husseini. Evish, a little on the flat side. Gerdaniye. And Tishuseini. Those are all the possible diatonic notes that we have. So how a diatonic note functions is, in this system, if you make a melody using these pitches and you stop, so you start on one of the notes, you use the melody using one of these pitches, and then you stop on a note, that's the makam. So today we're going to focus on duga, the notated A. Sounds like a B the way I'm playing it, but it's a notated A. And if I play a melody duga, sega, charga, neva, charga, sega, duga, rast, duga, I made that makam. You might call it duga makam, that's the note. But actually, for some reason, we call it ushak. Okay, and that's the mode that your score that I handed out is in, ushak. I could also, from duga there, continue on and make a cadence on any one of these pitches. So I might go to charga. And I've made charga makam. From there, neva, it's D. And then I can go back to ushak. So you can sort of follow, if you know the pitches of the system, you can follow everything. And what's interesting now is that the names are not so much used anymore, but they actually make the names of the maqams. Rast maqam. It's called that because I stop on the rast pitch. Okay. So it helps to sort of, if you're sort of thinking about how maqams work, it helps to know the names of each of the pitches in the traditional way, rather than simply the note on the staff. The half flat and the sharp, I kind of mentioned it in passing, but those notes are not so different from like a B natural or an F sharp. It's just slightly flatter. Slightly flatter. So we don't need to worry about so much of the details of that. They sort of call it microtonality, but I don't think that that's necessarily the best way of describing it. So that's how the pitches work, and that's how the maqam system works. So you need a little bit of that information before you can understand the form. The other one is the meter. So this is the cycle that I was talking about, the usul. And the way that it's typically taught is you tap on your legs with your, or you can tap on the desk. It's kind of like a piano staff where the right hand is the upper line and the left hand is the bottom line. So you can say do, te, da, do, te, do, te, da, do, te, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So those are the sort of two basic bits of information you need to be able to comprehend what's happening in a Saz Semaisi, or an instrumental composition in 10. Now, this piece that I've given you is actually composed by a sultan. It's an interesting sultan as well. So this is sort of thought of as the beginning of the decline of the Ottoman Empire. The 18th century is known as the Tulip Period, where sort of the diplomacy and the sort of military might of the Ottomans begins to wane. So they're still at the top of their power in the world, but they're beginning what eventually becomes the decline of the empire. So this Sultan Mahmud is a very powerful person still in the world. As with all monarchic families of the time, there would be a lot of competition to see who was going to pass on to the throne when the king or the queen died. Right? So what would typically happen in the Ottoman Empire is, brothers might be appointed the governor of some city in the Ottoman Empire. And then, whichever one had the most favor with the military or the sultan would then become the next sultan, and the line would continue. But what started to happen was that the brothers would kill their other brothers to be able to eliminate the competition, so to speak. Okay? But what happened with Mahmud was another variation on this sort of situation was they would actually, it's kind of like a prison. They would put the siblings of like the sort of the favorite heir to the throne. They would put the siblings in what they called a cage, the kafes. But the cage was, of course, like a luxurious palace place, and they would be taken care of and everything. But this way, they wouldn't pose a threat, and they could still sort of be alive. But so Sultan Mahmud actually lived in the kafes for 27 years, and was doing nothing but playing the ney, which is the flute, and writing some music. So it was like his little beat laboratory. And another sort of interesting feature of this whole scenario is, a lot of times, especially in the 20th century, sort of like Islamic fundamentalism is associated with a forbidding music. But this guy was the caliph. Okay, so he was the leader of the entire Muslim world, and he was a musician and composer. So this is a huge tradition of music that's just completely ignored nowadays, and I think it's really interesting that that's sort of turned out to be the case in our modern period. But there's all this great music that is associated with an Islamic society. So there you have it. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. So that's one of the things that I'd like to correct. Now, this is the composer. And let me go back to the system for the pitches, and we can now turn to our music. So I'll use my mood here, and I'll find. We'll use that note one thing that I should tell you about this. We use that note as our main sort of final modal tonic of the piece, right? But Turkish musicians nowadays, they'll use solfege. And it's fixed do solfege. So that A will always say la. Okay? And then everything else, no matter what it is, it's always going to be, it's very similar to our solfege. The only difference is, I think they use like the French model where T is not T, it's C. So S-I instead of T-I. So for example, if I'm doing the whole thing, I go La, Sol, La, Sol, La, Sol, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do, Re, Do, Si, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Si, La, Sol, Fa, La, Sol, La, Si, Do, Si, La, Si, La, Sol, La. I think we can do this. Yeah,
Do you change the F sharp to P?
Nope. There's no chromatic solfege. If the note is chromaticized, then you sing Fa, but you adjust.
Okay.
Alright, so that's La. First of all, let's get the rhythm going. Nice and slow. So a lot of things we're going to have to work out right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. One more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Let's sing now. La, sol, la, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, sol, si, la, sorry, la, si, do, si, la, si, la, sol, la. Okay, so we just did what they call the first hane and testing. Okay, it's like the A section of the form. Notice how it starts on duga, which is the final of ushak. La, sol, la, right? That's the beginning. Then we get a melody using all the notes of this collection. And by the end of the fourth measure there, we wind up with a cadence back on la. Alright, so that's all we need to do to make a maqam happen. Let's try it again. So again, this is the refrain. Every time we're going to go somewhere else, we come back to this. So we should get it right. Ready? Here we go. And la, sol, la, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, la. Again, 2, 3. La, louder. Sol, la, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, si. do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, sol. La, si, do, si, la, si, la, sol, la. Again, try to keep tapping the beats. La, sol, la, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, la. One last time, and la, nice and loud, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, la. Good. All right, so you get the idea. We just made ushak together. Okay, it was very nice. The only other sort of detail that I find interesting, where it goes from the third measure, la, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, sol. It kind of hints at rust, but it doesn't stop. It continues on. Si, do, si, la, sol, la, and then it does end on the ushak. Okay, so there's a little bit of like rhetoric going on here with the makam system. So we focused on the duga pitch or parapet, and we had melody, and then we kind of touched on rast a little bit before the very end, and we landed back on duga. All right, now let's take a look at the second hane. That's duga, so this is going to be neva. It starts there. Perfect fourth. Re, do, si, do, si, la, sol, la, si, la, si, do, re, do. Where do we cadence? Do. And the name of do is charga. So we just made charga makam. We modulated. And one of the reasons why I chose this piece too is that it doesn't modulate to any chromatic places, right? This is a collection of diatonic pitches. The Sultan composed it. Normally I wouldn't choose a Sultan piece necessarily, or a political figure piece, but it's very clear in how it presents all the different modulations. So we just went to do, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, do. And we begin the cadence on Shargama. So let's start that second hane again. Re, do, si, la, do, si, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, do, si, do. Now, do, si, do, si, mi, re, do, si, la, do, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, la. Goes back to ushak. And then we get, that prepares us to go back to the testing. Okay, let's try again. I messed up my tapping. Keep trying to do the tapping, it's really helpful. La, re, do, si, la, do, si, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, do, re, do, 2, 3. Do, si, do, re, si, mi, re, do, si, la. si, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, la. And we go back to la, the testing. So after the second hana is done, it has a little senyo. Actually, it should be da kako because that's where we go back to. And then at the end of the second line, it says son. Son means end in Turkish. Actually, I spelled my last name, Birson. It's actually Birson. Son means end, and Bir is one. So my last name is one N. I don't know why. Okay, third hane. You ready? La, la. Now we're going to do nice octave leaps. La, 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 sol, fa, mi, re, mi, do, si, la. Do, si, la, si, la, si, re, do, si, la, la. Okay, stop. We ended on the high la. Okay? Where did we modulate to? Muhayyer, yeah. Nice job. We modulate to muhayyer there. Okay? La, la, sol, fa, mi, re. La, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, do, si, la. We do it ushak, but then we jump up again. Do, si, la, si, re, do, si, la, la. And we made muhayyer. Then what happens? La, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, do, si, la, si, do, si, re, do, si, la, la. We go back to Shak, and that gets us ready for the testing. Let's try third hane. And this would be the C section of the form. La. So it's interesting, right? Sultan Mahmud has to somehow get up to upper register. So he starts with an octave leap in the third hane, goes all the way back down to where we came from, but that sets up the next register. And that's where we wind up. La. Here we go. La, 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 sol, fa, mi, re, mi, do, si, la. Try to do the tapping. I realize there's a lot of stuff going on at once.
There's a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. La, 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 sol, fa, mi, re, mi, do, si, la. Do, si, la, si, re, do, si, la, la. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, do, si, la, si, re, do, si, la, la. Back to me, testing. The fourth hane is pretty much straight up ushak, doesn't really modulate anywhere, but it certainly does go, well, we'll see where it goes, but it's changing the meter now. So from 10/8 we go to 12/8. So let's try the fourth hane, which is in 12/8. We're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a little more in our ballpark. 1, 2, 3, 4, ready, go. La, do, si, do, re, do, si, do, re, do, re, do, si, la, sol. So each of the hanes modulated to another makam for the first part of it and got us back to ushak, and then we did the teslim. We're going to do the teslim in ushak. The fourth hane modulates the rhythm. So the meter completely changes. And then we go back to them. So it's like, it gives you a whole like comprehensive musical exploration. And it's a really nice form. And it's very similar to the Western rondo. So I'll play on my oud, and let's just perform this thing on solfege. Okay? Keep trying to do the tapping. But if you can't do it, it's okay. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, ready, go. La, sol, la, sol, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, do, si, do, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, do, si, la, si, la, sol, la. Okay, great. I think it was a little fast. I'll slow it down here. Let's do it again. 8, 9, 10. La, sol, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, do, la, mi, re, do, sol, la, si, la, sol, si, la, si, la, sol, la. Hane 2. Re, do, si, la, si, la, si, do, si, la, sol, la, si, la, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, re, do, si, do, re, si, do, si, la, do, si, la, si, do, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, la. Teslim, and la, sol, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, la, si, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, si, si, la, si, la, sol, la. Okay, wait a second. Could we have you're a percussionist, David?
Yeah.
Could you be our percussion player?
Okay.
You just play the beat.
Okay.
You can sing along if you feel like you can do it at the same time, but give us use the desk. Okay, so let's get that going. We're gonna go down, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Aiden, can you help them out? Let's get 2 desks. A little louder. 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Nice. Okay, everybody else, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Teslim, and then we'll go to the third hane. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. And here we go, guys. And la, sol, la, sol, la, sol, la, si, la, si, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, si, do. Nice. La, si, la, si, la, si, la, sol,
si, do. So you guys are gonna go ba ba ba. So da 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 da. Just straight forward. Very good. Good. How feel? And la do re do si do re do si la sol la re do si la sol mi do re mi do si do si la sol fa mi re do si do do si do do si la sol la re do si la sol mi do re do mi do si do si la sol la and la sol la si do re mi fa mi re do si la sol la